Hello everybody, welcome to Valencia in Spain. You join us as the cars are on the grid ready to start their green flag lap before races 17 and 18 of the World Touring Car Championship 2006. And they're zooming in on the 12th place starter, Britain's Rob Huff in a Chevrolet Lachetti. We followed him through qualifying to show you how it works. Well, Huff claimed his first World Touring Car win in Brno, confident as a result of that, and a good result here in free practice.
The balance of the car is pretty good, so we'll have to go out there and see what we can do. Fingers crossed, we'll get it right, and we'll be out there in qualifying. No, for sure the hunt is on.
So with qualifying starting, the team's got 12 tyres to choose from, and tactics will be important here in the changeable conditions in the heat of Valencia. They have to send him out to get one banker in.
Struggling on the exit of the corners for the traction and front end grip. Okay, so if we go stiff on the front bar and stiff on the rear bar, please.
Make adjustments to get the car to handle better.
And Duncan, where are we? You're currently P6 at the 45.8, Janet's car with a 44.8.
But still, he needs some more work. New set of tyres, but he had a spun car at turn 8 when he was setting his best time.
2 minutes done to get round. Copy that, cheers, Mark.
Not the best of sessions for Rob Huff in the end. 13th on the grid, not quite as planned. But then, motorsport's not an exact science.
Big push tomorrow, and yeah, I think we can still do well. You know, we came from 24th to win in Brno, so anything's possible.
Race director Eduardo Freitas is flagging the cars away from the front of the field. And all 26 cars hopefully will leave the grid. There you see Maria de Villota. She qualified 25th in her Mara Motorsport Chevrolet. Her teammate, though, did not get a run in qualifying at all. Vincent Rademacher has been allowed by the stewards to start the race. He had an engine problem before qualifying that could not be fixed. James Thompson has had to have his engine changed since it stopped in this morning warm-up. So he will drop from what was a fine 7th on the grid to 17th place. Ricard Rydell lost his best qualifying time for setting a fast time under yellow flags, and he also dropped way down the grid as well. We'll catch up with the rest of the news after this. Welcome back live to Valencia. The onboard pictures of Alain Menu in the Chevy Lachetti lining up for 4th place on today's starting grid. And so, front-wheel drive cars very much in the ascendancy here. You're looking at Jordi Genet, who starts on the outside of the front row of the grid. Our pole sitter on the left of your picture, the right as the drivers see it, is Augusto Farfus Jr., the Brazilian in his Alfa Romeo, the fastest man in practice. Genet won from pole in last year's first race. Alex Zanardi was the pole sitter in race 2. Jörg Müller won that. Jörg Müller starts in 8th place today. He may yet win another race here in Valencia in 2006. But the rear drive cars have generally struggled, with Andy Priaulx starting in 15th place and Dirk Müller down in 22nd position. Augusto Farfus then the best place, the championship challengers on pole from Jordi Genet, Salvatore Tavano 3rd, Alain Menu 4th, Tom Coronel 5th, Nicola Larini 6th. Ready for the start of round 17 of the World Touring Car Championship. A short hold, away they go. Good start from the front row men, and it's a drag race, and Jordi Genet just getting the rub from Augusto Farfus, pushing him onto the grass, and I'm sure that Farfus will be called to the steward's office for that. There's no need for contact on the run up to the first corner. Not straight off the grid and turned around. That's Priaulx. Priaulx backwards in the first corner, gets caught. Predictably, it's Rob Huff. He is the unlucky man. Andy Priaulx in the gravel at the first turn. Rob Huff there as well. How many other cars have been involved? Well, Priaulx got turned around from behind as Jordi Genet takes the start. 3rd place is Alain Menu. 4th place is the top independent driver, Luca Rangoni, from 10th on the grid. 5th place is the 2nd of the Alfa Romeos, that's Salvatore Tavano. 6th place is Jörg Müller. 7th place was Tom Coronel. Trying to have a look at the back of Jörg Müller. Looking back from Jörg, there's Tom Coronel. And that behind is the car of not Zanardi, Heisman. And there's something ablaze at the back of Prio's car. The exhaust got crushed in there. The fuel cell is at the tail of the car as well. So you have to be very careful. That's Peter Terting in front of us. Now, Peter Terting started in 8th place. He's in 10th at the moment. We're riding with Zanardi. Whoa! And there's Prio walking away. Now, he was hoping to salvage any kind of points at all. Rupp, what happened there, mate? Huff came into that unsighted. That's Dirk Muller coming up very strongly, but look at the bunch of Seats he's going to fight his way through. Tarquini, Muller, James Thompson, all heavily laden with success ballast, and everybody's slowing right down now. Are they seeing safety car boards? Yes, they are. Well, that's probably not a surprise. Two cars very deeply buried in the first corner gravel, and it's a long kilometre fast approach to that. Well, Prio walks away. The car cannot be dragged out of the gravel either. Let's have a look at the replay, see if we can figure out what happened. Slow starting Seat there in the middle of the field. Some contact further back, Stefano D'Aste getting squeezed by a couple of Seats. Well, Prio showing his nose in the middle of the pack, trying to get a good launch away from his 16th position on the grid. And a lot of contact between Augusto Farfus and Jordi Genet. Now, let's see if we can pick up what happens to Prio. He gets turned around by a Seat. Number 9, Peter Terting, I think. Number 10 is Peter Terting, so let's have a look who was in front of him on the grid. Terting, I'm afraid Terting, well, no, it wasn't Genet because he's the leader, and it wasn't Thompson, so it could only have been Peter Terting. Well, the onboard camera shows us there exactly what happened as Prio came back across the track into Rob Huff. Big impact there. Well, there is Bart Mampai, the boss of RBM Motorsport that runs the BMW Team UK NG for Andy Prio. And that car is still buried in the gravel, which means the team can do no work to it at all during the first race, which means they have a 15-minute period between the races only to work on the cars. It is possible Prio may not make race 2. Now, which other Seats had cameras on board? Only Jordi Genet, Ricard Rydell and Gabriele Tarquini, so the onboard shot cannot have been, therefore, from Peter Terting. And you see the brief fire at the back of Prio's car, the exhaust trapped up under the bodywork. Now, the race distance will be extended by up to 2 laps. And they can do that to allow for some safety car period. Prio away from the car and obviously will not be able to drive it back, so it will have to sit there and wait. Luca Rangoni 4th in the Alfa, Augusto Farfus in 2nd place, Luca Rangoni 4th in the BMW rather, Salvatore 5th, Salvatore Tavano 5th in the Alfa, Nicola Larini in 6th place in his Alfa, in his Chevrolet Lachetti. And there's Bart Mampai going to find Andy Prio, see if he knows any more about it. Well, it was certainly a Seat that got into the back of him. It certainly wasn't Jordi Genet. And Peter Terting's not carrying a camera. So that leaves Gabriele Tarquini, Ricard Rydell as the Seats, as well as Genet, that are carrying cameras. It looked like a Seat that got into him. What other onboard cameras were nearby? Well, it wasn't Huff's camera. Was it Menu's camera that showed us that view? I don't think so. Terting, Tarquini, Muller are up there. So Tarquini, I'm suggesting, might be the man who got into the back of Andy Prio, turned him around and caused that big first corner pile-up. Well, there you can see some long faces in the BMW camp. Oh, bit of a creep there from Jordi Genet, but look at Farfus. He knows he's losing the drag race. Bing, bing, bing. Let's have a look for Prio. There he is on the right-hand side of the bottom of the picture. 2 Seats. He gets a tiny tag from one, tries to close the door. Contact, contact, contact. Well, it certainly wasn't a deliberate punting off. It was just a racing incident, but contact between 2 cars like that was such a marginal overlap. Tarquini taking him out. The crew have just seen the replay. Andy just missed it. I don't know who it was. He knows there was Seats behind him. He may possibly know who it was. But he'll go and talk to Bart Mampai and see exactly what can be done. When the driver is out of the race, actually, effectively, there is nothing that can be done. They won't give Priaulx points. They can't give Priaulx points. He's been robbed of the chance to potentially score maybe even 1 point in the whole weekend. But as we know, 1 point in a whole weekend can win you or lose you a championship. Genet, Farfus, Menu, Rangoni, Tavano, Lurini, that's our top half dozen. And again, look away from the start. Well, we saw from the overhead that Genet was just having a tiny little roll before everybody else moved. Now, whether that's been judged a jump start or not, we have not been notified. But certainly Farfus gave him a good rubbing down into the first corner, and that was the contact further back in the pack. Priaulx gets into the barriers, can't stop the car, it comes back across the grass. Poor Rob Huff's got nowhere to go. Well, he came across the nose of both Seats. Bang! That's a big impact with Rob Huff. Huff does seem to have a disaster magnet fitted to his car, and even the new Shell doesn't seem to have lost out on that. Here we go, green again then, lap 3 of 14. Look at the BMW, that's our second independent, Luca Rangoni, very quick in free practice. He's in 4th place, and he's still in 4th place. He was second on the grid, but he's made a superb start. Don't forget, the independent trophy drivers with no weight, on board with Augusto Farfus, 2nd place, Jordi Genet right in front. Lap 4 of 15 now in this race. Menu going with them in 3rd place, looking back from Jordi. There is Augusto Farfus riding all the curbs and more. Must make the most of their tyres in the first 2 or 3 laps. I tell you what, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that Rangoni might win this race. The BMW was searingly fast in free practice. He won't have any tyre concerns, whereas all the other front-wheel drive cars definitely do here in Valencia. And he has got just 3 cars between him and an outright victory. However, coming up from behind, Jörg and Dirk Muller, and that's got to be Duncan Heisman, rather. Jörg Muller and Duncan Heisman at 7th and 9th at the moment. Dirk Muller down in 13th, got to shuffle back behind all of those Seats before the yellow flag. Gabriele Tarquini, car number 2. He's currently in 11th place behind teammate Peter Terting, or he was. There is Terting, chasing Heisman, chasing Coronel. Tarquini with Ivan Muller, Dirk Muller behind him. James Thompson is there, Pierre-Yves Courtals in the Honda, Ricard Rydell. So big bunch of Seat Leons there between 10th and 17th place, with Oscar Nog on the back, and Rydell dives down inside Pierre-Yves Courtals in the Honda Accord. He's 3rd in the independent class at the moment. And Genet just starting to ease away a little from Augusto Farfus. But the Chevrolet boys were definitely worried about tyre wear coming into this race, and they're right to be. Alain Menu has got Rangoni all over him, and that situation can only get worse for Menu. Rydell just staying in front of the Honda, which is a quick little machine in a straight line, and he's through up to 3rd place. Well, this is an astonishing performance from Luca Rangoni. Unladen in terms of success ballast, but he's really making a full use of his BMW right from the moment it rolled out of the trailer this weekend. That's been a very quick car indeed, fastest of all in the first free practice. Luca Rangoni, if he can keep it all together, he could win this race with Menu. Just a little rub there as Rangoni got the overlap, wasn't quite through cleanly, but Rubbin's racing, that's enough to get him inside Alain Menu. Now Menu's job will be to hold off the other cars who might be championship rivals, like Salvatore Tavano's Alfa. Nicola Lurini's next up in his Chevrolet, and then Jörg Muller in 7th place, Tom Coronel in 8th spot. So Farfus and Jörg Muller are now the 2 championship contenders in the points. There is Jörg Muller, first of the white BMWs. Now, he's been a winner at this racetrack, won last year's 2nd race, and he might well do it again. Dirk Muller, the only other winner at this track for BMW, won the 2nd race in 2003's European Touring Car Championship. But all of those previous races on Michelin tyres, this year they're on Advan Yokohamas, and so it's slightly into the blue in terms of wear, performance and everything else. And one of the Seats coming down the pit road, is that a penalty? That looks to me like car number 2, Gabriele Tarquini. It's not. That's Genet. Genet is down the pit road. What was that? Was that a jump start penalty? Augusto Farfus leads then. Just as I start looking down at my list of who's won what, Genet loses any chance to win the first race here. He will rejoin right to the tail of the field, and that puts Rangoni into second place on lap 6 of 15. Farfus has got to hold off a fiercely driven BMW for another 9 laps. Larini in third. Menu rather in third, Tavano in fourth, Larini in fifth. So Menu looking for a podium here. Tavano might try and work his way up into a podium position again. Jörg Muller, it's all going his way. He's now in 6th place. Sure, Augusto Farfus has gone from 8 to 10 points, but Jörg Muller's picked up another couple as well. Tom Coronel in 7th place now. And Jordi Genet was only 8th as he crossed the line, but then he was in the pit lane, don't forget, so he will probably come in somewhere way back at the tail of the queue of Seats and beyond. Well, all of them doing better than Andy Priaulx at the moment, because at least they're still moving and the car's in one piece. And the fear, I think, is that Priaulx will not take part in race 2 here. Gabriele Tarquini with contact on the right front corner, so there is no doubt that there was definitely a turning effect around his nose. Priaulx's rear tyre left a lot of rubber there as it was spun around, and past Menu they go, drafting by Tavano and Larini. Has the Swiss got a problem, or was he just punching a hole in the air for the others to pick up? Rangoni in second, and the gap the last lap, 1.85 to Farfus. Farfus lapping just a shade slower though, on board with Menu, replay on the straight. He's the first of a long queue of cars, and 2 of them leapfrog him into the first corner, like 125cc motorcycle racing. You give away the toe, that's what happens. But already, Alan has got back past the BMW of, he's holding off the BMW of Jörg Muller, so he hasn't got back past him at all. He's holding off Jörg Muller though. So Alan Menu down there. 5th position, Jörg Muller in 6th, Tom Coronel in 7th, Peter Terting in 8th. Duncan Eisman in 9th, battle for 10th, Tarquini versus Dirk Muller. Around the outside goes Dirk Muller, Tarquini hangs on, and looking inside is the number 12 car of Ivan Muller. So Ivan picks up 1 place, Dirk doesn't pick up a place. He goes back down 1. He's just in front of James Thompson. Thompson's looking inside, and Dirk is pushing Ivan. Tomo's pushing Dirk, and Rydell is pushing Tomo. Dirk Muller in the middle of a 4-strong gang of Seats, all pretty much sharing the same weight. I daren't take my eyes off the screens to tell you exactly who's on what, because the last time I took my eyes off the screen, suddenly the race leader went into the pits. Well, they are all pretty heavily laden, and this is going to be a real cutthroat battle, and all of it out of the points at least at the moment. Well, here is Dirk back inside Jörg to regain the place he lost. That was 14. Oh, and here comes Jörg. That was Dirk inside Ivan. Jörg going by Alan Menu. Menu is struggling in a straight line. Now, what on earth has happened to him, I wonder? Maybe it is just that he is again there on the straight the last time at the front of a queue, and Jörg got the better toe. Looking back from Jörg Muller, there's Alan Menu. Peter Terting is behind him. He's now got ahead of Tom Coronel. Coronel doesn't mind too much, because he can see Rangoni is quite a long way ahead in terms of performance. Ooh, Menu inside. He's inside Jörg. Don't forget, these two had a big coming together last time out at Brno. And that time Jörg was on the inside line and Alan was the loser. Down into turn 8. Sweeping around this tight, long left-hander, like turn 14 with a sort of downhill approach. 9 and 10, this is turn 11. And there is Tavano holding off Larini for 3rd. Jörg Muller holding off Alan Menu for 5th position at the moment. Augusto Farfus still leads, but still Luca Rangoni in 2nd place is going faster. As we ride with the BMW, that is the lead battle. Farfus versus Rangoni. Pro Team independent BMW versus N Technology factory developed Alfa Romeo. 1.68 seconds. The lead comes down 2/10, but he survived another 2 laps, and now Tovano under real pressure from Larini for 3rd place, and here comes the gang of 5, or 4 as it is now. Dirk on the outside, and a near spin there from the Seat. Well, it's absolutely neck and neck there, really very close racing indeed. And Dirk Müller starting to creep to the front of this train. Gabriele Tarquini has made his excuses and left. That's him in 10th place. And then James Thompson, Dirk Müller, Ivan Müller, and Ricard Riedel. So further back, you still can't even see the red windscreen strip of Jordi Janet's car. Such has been his disappointment. Oscar Nog and Maurizio Cerasoli are the next 2 Seats in the queue behind them. There's Tomo with Dirk Müller right behind him. Now, a lap ago, Dirk was 11th, ahead of Ivan, and James was 13th. So things are changing rapidly in that bunch. If not corner by corner, then certainly lap by lap. Thompson and Müller just starting again to stretch away from the cars behind them. Pierre-Yves Courtals in the Honda hanging on to the back of the group. There's Ivan Müller. And Ricard Riedel still on the back of that group. Ricard was a lot higher up in qualifying, but lost his fastest lap as a result of setting it during a yellow flag period. And that left him 20th on the grid. A lot of work to be done from back there in the depths of the field. Alain Menu versus Duncan Heisman. Heisman in the second of the Ravaglia cars, with Tom Coronel right behind him. Menu trying to hang on to some semblance of points. He's now down to 7th place. Peter Terting escaped, got by him and has latched onto Jörg Müller. Heisman for BMW Italia Spain. Having a look around the outside. He'll have to cut back inside. That was corner 6. Looking down inside into the fast left-hand kink at 7, and then try to make a move under braking for 8. Does he have enough under braking? He's got enough to try and look inside. Just a little touch. Enough to move Alain a fraction off line. Out of 8 they go. Left into 9. Then right-handers upcoming. And Coronel is all over the back of Heisman as well. This is great, close touring car racing. Menu battling to preserve 2 points. Heisman trying to take one of them away from him by going from 8th up to 7th. And as the race progresses, the BMW should have been kinder to its tyres. It should have more grip, should be able to get its power down better off the corners, should be able to brake a little later, a little deeper, and should be able to hold the line better than the front-wheel drive cars. Here's our race leader, Augusto Farfus, holding the gap to Luca Rangoni. Well, I'm not sure we're going to have a fairy tale win from Rangoni, unless it happens in the steward's room later, because I'd be surprised if Farfus isn't at least admonished for rubbing all the way alongside Jordi Janet into the first corner, and Heisman goes through. Well, Menu fights back. It wasn't quite as early down the straight as Heisman would have liked, and Menu gets back in front into turn 2, back up to 7th. In deep, can Heisman counter? He's pushing, so too is Coronel. Well, the important thing was that Alain somehow got his nose back in front of the Dutchman. Now they're nearly wheel to wheel again. Farfus leads Rangoni 1.8. 3rd place Tovano with Larini still crawling all over the back of his car. The exact reverse of this. Oh, and that's a move up the order by Tarquini, up to 9th ahead of Tom Coronel. Now that the other factory Seats have caught Coronel, will he start moving aside to let them through? Well, he's given away his 9th place. He didn't even have a point to let any of the factory drivers have. With Heisman, that's Menu right in front. And there is Larini now ahead of Tavano, and this is how it happened. So this is just a few corners back. Larini spearing down the inside of Salvatore Tavano. And that's how that change came about. Larini up into third place. Now then, what's he had for breakfast again? The same as he had at Brno. First ever World Touring Car podium at Brno, and now he's in third place again. Farfus for Alfa Romeo, Rangoni for the Pro Team Independent BMW squad in second, and Nicola Larini for Chevrolet in third. Tommy Coronel saying, "Eat my dust" on the back of his car, as the racing continues hot and fast behind. Here we go. This is Duncan Heisman versus Alamenu once more, this time seen from Gabriele Tarquini's viewpoint. Tarquini showing his nose inside nice and early, and James Thompson trying to come past Tom Coronel. Tarquini desperate even to get a single point here, to get onto pole position for race 2 would be fantastic if he can manage it. He won the first race here in an Alfa Romeo in 2004. He won the first race here in an Alfa Romeo in 2003. Went winless in 2005. He's not going to win race 1 here, that's for sure. Gabriele Tarquini chasing Duncan Heisman, who in turn is chasing Alamenu. 2 points positions in front of Tarquini. Coronel has got Thompson coming up behind, but Dirk Muller is right there as well, and Ivan Muller. Oh, and here's the move. Heisman trying to get inside. Alamenu does it into turn 9. Now then, can Tarquini squeeze through as well? Menu right up on the apex. And it looks like he's fighting a degree of understeer, and Tarquini trying to get his nose inside. Through turn 12. Fast kink turn 13 here. Over the brow and then going downhill, still turning, still accelerating. Now over the rise, downhill into the braking area. For turn 14, they fan out. Thompson's down the inside of Coronel. Tarquini gets tagged by Coronel as well. Somehow, I don't understand how that happened. Through goes Dirk Muller, through goes Ivan Muller. And Tarquini's around, and that's it, into the wall. A heavy impact for Gabriele Tarquini. Did he get hit from behind? Did something break? Tom Coronel's car is flapping its right front wing. Tarquini's has shed his, and his car is absolutely tubbed. Now what can he do? Nothing. It's got a fire underneath, so they're going to have to get to that very quickly. An oil line or something has burst, and Gabriele Tarquini will bail out, and rightly so. Now Jaime Puig, not quite sure what happened to that one either. Let's have a look from the outside. Oh, well, now I still don't see why the car swerved across the road like that. And Tarquini walks away from it, and it may be no points for him as well. Augusto Farfus then leading. Lap 13 of 15. Luca Rangoni in second, now 1.9 seconds behind. Farfus has somehow found 1/10 somewhere to keep Rangoni at bay. Farfus really driving superbly here, just to keep the BMW behind him and out of harm's reach as well. Not just behind, but out of striking distance. Tarquini's car covered in extinguishant and steaming gently there. And, well, was it a result of contact there? Now what happens here? Somehow... I don't know. It's hard to tell. There is definitely contact, but he sort of swerves into the other Seat there, who I think was Ivan Muller. Hard to tell. Almost looks as if he got a shove from his right rear quarter that swerved him into Muller, and then it all went off, but I don't really know. Lap 14 of 15. Jörg Muller here in 5th place. Salvatore Tavano and Nicola Larini in front. There's Tavano in 4th. Rob Huff and Andy Priaulx seeing their other title rivals, or Priaulx's other title rivals, fall by the wayside. Jörg Muller looking for 4th place now. He's got a lap and a half to get it. Ricard Rydell, broken right front suspension, or tracking arm. So he's got little steering. Another title hopeful. There's Priaulx's car being worked on with lump hammers, so they have got it back to the pits. Rydell trying to come in to give the team a chance to control that TC. Can you imagine what the steering wheel is doing in his hands at the moment as that wheel rips itself around there? Well, you can see just how the car is being badly shaken. Of course, he's going very slowly on course. Hopefully the marshals will have white flags, but the drivers won't know what to expect. Now, this is Alain Menu chasing Duncan Heisman still, and this is still for points. 7th and 8th they are. And right behind them, James Thompson and Ivan Muller, and then Dirk Muller next up. So Menu and Heisman better be careful, because Tomo, separated from the points by either one of those, might be a very difficult man to keep back on the last lap if he can get close enough. Rydell makes it into the pit road. Leaders on the last lap. Menu trying to pick up the toe from Heisman on the straight. He just hasn't got enough speed on the straight. The car seems to be a little under-geared. Here comes Thompson down the inside into one. He's got him. A point for Thompson at the moment. Can he hold it on the exit? Menu's coming back into turn 2. Good counter-attack, and Thompson again tries to launch down the inside, and around. No, goes to Chevy. He hangs on to it. Good close racing. Two former British Touring Car champions working their magic here in the World Touring Car Series. And that's relief from Heisman. He goes off. He will hang on to 7th place, but can Menu hold on to that one vital point for 8th position? Again, for Thompson's championship hopes, that could be very, very useful. He led the series middle of the year. He's got 49 points, 9 less than Prio. And if he could get ahead of Menu, that would be 8 less than Prio. With one more race here and 2 in Macau to go, that would keep him in the fray. But Farfus, what a race he is having. The BMW is getting very, very close indeed. Turn 11, turn 12, corner 13. It's getting very close behind him in the mirrors, but as he comes around the lake into turn 14, Augusto Farfus, if he makes this braking and corner safely, has got the race won, and he does. Luca Rangoni is going to be desperately close, but he's not going to be close enough. A phenomenal result for him, but a very important victory for Alfa Romeo and for Augusto Farfus. Look at the N Technology team. Farfus wins, Rangoni second, Larini third, again on the podium for Chevrolet. Salvatore Tavano fourth, Jürg Muller fifth, sixth Peter Terting, seventh Duncan Heisman, eighth Alain Menu, just inches ahead of James Thompson, Ivan Muller, Dirk Muller, Pierre-Yves Courtals, Gianni Morbidelli, Tom Coronel and Alex Zanardi rounding out the top 15. Poleman Jordi Genet 17th, and disappointment for him. But Alain Menu just holding on there, I think, ahead of James Thompson at the line. No question about the winner, although Augusto Farfus, as you can quite clearly see, with tyre marks on the door from rubbing up alongside poleman Jordi Genet at the start. Augusto Farfus of Brazil celebrates with the N Technology team. Victory in race 1 in Valencia. Alfa Romeo didn't win a race here last year. They won 3 out of the previous 4 races here in European Touring Car Championship action. Now they have another race win in the World Touring Car Championship. And Augusto Farfus almost alone among the front runners scoring points. No points for Prio, no for Tarquini, none for Rydell, nor for Dirk Muller, nor for James Thompson. 10 for Augusto Farfus, 3 for Jürg Muller, none for Ivan Muller, 4 for Peter Terting, and none for Jordi Genet. So of the top 10 drivers, just 3 scored points, and that's very important because that moves Farfus into 3rd in the championship. We now have Prio 58, Tarquini 57, Farfus 56. Jürg Muller moves on to 49 points, tied with James Thompson, 2 behind Dirk Muller. And Peter Terting up to 48, a point behind them, as Ivan Muller now moves down behind Peter Terting, who gave away, don't forget, victory to Gabriele Tarquini in Turkey last time out, to try and ensure that Tarquini had a better run at the title. well, Terting suddenly is a little further back in the frame, courtesy of taking all of Seat's points from that race. So Terting in 5th position, having a very important day for himself, but adding to the headaches of his team boss, Jaime Puig. How on earth do you possibly try and differentiate between the Seat drivers now? Tarquini on 57, clearly the best place. Rydell on 54, he's now 4th in the championship. He's the 2nd best placed, but of the others, Jordi Genet slips out of the frame completely, and Peter Terting is now better placed than Ivan Muller. Do you just concentrate on the top 2? What do you do? It's going to be very tough indeed. You can see Rydell and Tarquini there, both in trouble. Tarquini's car we saw heavily in the pit wall. Rydell's car with that right front steering damage. And of course Andy Prio's car out of action as well. So Ricard's car, the team will be fixing that TCA track control arm, hopefully to sort the steering out for race 2. And at the moment clambering all over the cars as they get ready for their chance to work on the cars. We will catch up with our race 1 top trio, hopefully including a very, very happy Luca Rangoni. No question about who the happiest team will be. That'll be the Pro Team BMW squad after Luca Rangoni took a remarkable Independence Trophy victory, but also 2nd overall. There's Nicola Larini and Augusto Farfus, faces you are used to seeing. Luca Rangoni, though, a face you may not be. But good result for him. So look at that. 58, 57, 56, 54, 51, 49. Still 9 points covering the top half dozen. That's a very, very close championship. Don't forget, 10 for a win can turn anything around. As we said earlier, every single point is absolutely crucial. For 19 races of this championship, it's about getting yourself in the frame for the final race of the year. And Tarquini, well, scoring nothing here, but then that's the case for so many of the drivers in the championship frame. So 2 out of these 3 former Alfa or current Alfa Romeo drivers. And Augusto Farfus should be delighted with that. 3rd win of the season, and comes after a long drought since he scored 18 points with a 2nd and a win at Puebla back in July in Mexico. And it all went off from the start as we saw the pole sitter and front row man rub into the first corner. Suddenly Andy Prio was backwards, and inevitably, of course, it would be the perennially bad luck man in the Chevy squad, Rob Huff, who got centre punched by the reversing BMW. Gabriele Tarquini was the man whose car was used as a fulcrum in that spin, and he was also not to feature. Well, Jordi Genet leading the race early on, having got ahead of Augusto Farfus, but was called in for a drive-through, presumably for jumping the start. Jumping Alain Menu were Salvatore Tavano and Nicola Larini. Duncan Heisman and Gabriele Tarquini with Peter Terting battling in the midfield, but it was Farfus who won from Independence winner Luca Rangoni, and Nicola Larini taking 3rd place, having got ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver Salvatore Tavano, taking his 2nd podium in as many race weekends, and it's win number 3 of the season for Augusto Farfus. So there are 2 of our top 3. Farfus, Larini and Luca Rangoni also there in the winner's circle, taking 2nd place overall. Fine result for Pro Team BMW, the Italian squad, running him in the Independence Trophy. That's really just a superb result for them. Points go down to 8th place, of course, in this series. So Duncan Heisman, Alain Menu hanging on ahead of James Thompson on the last lap to take that vital point. And Thompson fails to score here. He stays on 49 points and is now 5th in the series. So Nicola Larini steps out onto the podium. He is in 3rd place. Luca Rangoni, almost perpetually smiling, this man. Came out of Clio's and a whole host of 1-8 championships, and on the first World Touring Car podium of his career. Augusto Farfus takes his third win. So the Brazilian on the top step of the podium for the first time since Curitiba in July. And win number 1 of the season as long ago as the 2nd of April, Sunday in Monza. Well, at one stage, I'm sure, hope to end up where Felipe Massa is, but there is only room for one Felipe Massa in Formula 1, and Felipe Massa got there first. Augusto Farfus, though, carving himself out a good career as a touring car driver. Michele Larini had his brief taste of Formula 1 glory, and he too has made a very successful second career as a touring car star. And coming up from the one-mate racing ranks, Luca Rangoni, long-time exponent of racing close quarters in equal machinery, and that's got to be great training for World Touring Cars. So Augusto Farfus, thoughts of single-seater glory perhaps now behind him at such a young age, but perfect time to be starting a very major touring car career, and why wouldn't you? So the Pro Team BMW take the Independence victory for the first time this season. Second time this season, Stefano D'Aste won maximum points in the race. Third time he won in Brno and also in Manicure in race 2. But for Luca Rangoni, not his first time on the Independence Trophy podium. He's had 3 second places and a couple of thirds as well, but it's his first Independence victory, and it's certainly his first appearance on the overall podium. Normally we see the Independence winner alongside the top 3 from the main part of the race, but this time just 3 drivers on the podium. The other man in the white shirt, Mauro Sips, boss of N Technology. He and wife Monica run the squad, and of course N Technology running the Alfa Romeos in the Touring Car Championship. Well, there is the rub on the side from Jordi Genet's tyre as he brushed his way past Genet, trying to stop him claiming the lead into the first corner. Farfus, when he sees the gap closing, is very keen on using his car to try and prevent that. Genet got by anyway, but it was to no avail. The Spaniard was called in for a jump start. We saw that from the aerial shot of the start, that he had got away slightly in advance of anybody else, and particularly the starters thinking that it was time to go. So let's go into the press room there, catch up with our top 3, and we will start with our race winner, Brazil's Augusto Farfus.
Augusto Farfus, congratulations on your victory. First of all, a word on the start. It was a pretty tough fight out there with Jordi Genet. What happened exactly?
I saw that he starts before the green light. I tried to keep him behind me, but he starts better than me. And then I let he goes because I was thinking on championship. And then when I saw drive-through to Jordi, I was pretty happy. And then I just tried to manage the race as better as I did, and now I'm happy. Now I'm quite close to the leading of championship. I have to do my best for the second race.
And you can be happy for the overall. You're third, 2 points behind Andy Prio. The 5 drivers who were in front of you didn't score points. That's a huge satisfaction before the last round and the next race.
Yes, for sure. I just have to say thanks to God. He helped me a lot, to the team. And then I just have to think on the next race. And then after this weekend, we start to think on Macau. So now just to concentrate to the race 2.
Augusto, it's also your 3rd victory this season. That's another satisfaction.
Yes. When we start the season, nobody trusted in us. And then we did our best. We won in Monza, Puebla, and then I won here. So better than this, I think it's impossible.
Well, congratulations, and thank you very much.
Ciao.
Unless, of course, he can win race 2, which would be quite a remarkable achievement. Winner here from, well, the pole position man in 2004. Didn't win the race. That went to Gabriele Tarquini. But pole position in 2006. Augusto Farfus wins race 1. Now then, let's catch up with our second place driver.
Luca Arangoni, an independent driver on the podium. Second position for you. You must be very happy. Congratulations.
Race very good. Team, fantastic job. Thank you very much because it's very fantastic job. Thank you.
Maybe a word in Italian.
Yeah.
A word on your race. Second position today. You must be happy.
One lap is very difficulty. Dopo, it's very good. Sorry.
Italiano?
È una gara fantastica, ringrazio veramente tutto il team perché è stato fantastico e ringrazio anche di tutto cuore la mia famiglia perché per fare questo hanno faticato tanto. Grazie a tutti di tutto cuore.
Grazie Luca.
Grazie.
So Luca Arangoni, well, fantastic result for him. As he said, thanks to all the team, thank you to everybody who supported him. And I'm sure this is going to be one of the highlights of his season, no matter what else might happen in the remaining 3 races. Second overall, and just for a while, it looked as though he might even have won the race overall.
Nicola Larini, it looks like your season has taken a boost since 2 weeks, a podium in Istanbul, and here you are again on the podium. Congratulations, you must be satisfied with that one.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Yes, I'm happy. As you know, my target was second place. I did third place twice, so now it's the time to go to the highest place of the podium. Anyway, I did a good race. I lost time behind Tavano. He did a good job. He did a really good race, never doing zigzag in front of me. And when I overtook him, I was really fast. I think I was faster than all competitors in that moment. I was keeping Rangoni, but the race was too short.
Well, thank you very much, Nicola. Good luck for the next race.
Thank you.
And he's exactly right. A 1:47.301 on his last lap, the very last lap of the race. He was the fastest guy out there right to the very end. So Larini certainly had a podium sitting car today. He was quick enough in qualifying to take 6 on the grid and raced very sensibly indeed, and also very quickly indeed. So Augusto Farfus being congratulated on his win. And that brings us 17 races into the championship then. 3 points spread covering the top 3, 9 covering the top half dozen. Race 2 yet to come. Welcome back to Valencia in Spain for round 18 of the World Touring Car Championship, and the cars in the pit lane being worked on now by their crews. During repair time, there is Andy Priaulx, the Guernsey driver, whose race ended at the first corner in race 1 here, round 17 of the series. A lot of rear-end damage to the car, and it looks as though the RBM boys again have really earned their keep. Taped up, rear bumper replaced, so the rear exhaust system will have probably been replaced as well, because that's what it looked like. There was a brief fire underneath as well when they got it back, and Bart Mampai and his crew, they are the entire exhaust system crumpled beyond further use. Having to rebuild the underside of the car, the rear end of the car. Fantastic job by the boys. Get it re-topped up, refueled, and everything as squared up as possible for the start of race 2. For Andy Priaulx to be sitting in the car at this stage is an indication of just what a great job those boys at RBM have done for BMW Team UK and their lead driver. Priaulx, I remind you, still in the lead of the series, but hasn't scored in this race. Now, of course, we see a lot of the drivers over the course of the weekend. We don't see quite so much of the teams and the engineers. You can see them here working very feverishly indeed under the bonnet of the Chevrolet. But what about some of our race officials? Well, we followed Eduardo Freitas around in Turkey. He is the race director in the World Touring Car Championship. His word is law. He makes sure everything is in order on the grid concerning the sporting and technical regulations.
I had this result on purpose just to leave me nervous. Can you see well the lights?
Now, before race one, the worry was about what was going to happen with the rain. If it starts to rain with the drivers on slicks, he has to think about delaying the start. If not, away they will go. As he green flags them away as usual, still working, monitoring the weather situation as he goes to race control and then to the starting gantry. And once in race control, once the race is underway, keeping an eye on all the incidents.
Can I see the incident at turn one, please? Can you go back, please? Okay, forward. I think he was alone, huh? Is it clear? Yes. Track clear at turn one, please, on the monitors. Contact between car number under investigation. What the hell is going on there between the Alfa and the Seat? Incident between 18 and 9 under investigation. Okay, thank you. Don't forget the 3 first cars. The rest go to their garage.
Well, race one was relatively straightforward. He must have wondered exactly who he'd offended at the start of race two.
With this condition of weather and this amount of water on the track, it would be absolutely crazy to put the cars out. It is, in fact, very bad conditions. New start time will be announced when possible.
At one stage, there was over a metre of water in turn 9 as it rushed off the surrounding hillsides to turn what was a race circuit into an Olympic canoeing course. An awful decision just before the final cut-off. After 2 hours of feverish work, though, the track workers were able
10-minute board
to produce the result everyone wanted, a race. And that's a day that Eduardo Freitas will remember among many. Well, it's very easy to criticise officials, and just from time to time we do when they make what looks like difficult decisions and not in the way that everybody thinks they should be sorted out. But in the end, when it comes down to it, when you see what happened in Turkey, just occasionally you have to say, you know what? I'm glad somebody else is doing the job and not me. That was not my idea of an easy afternoon by any stretch of the imagination. So that's just a little look at what's involved with being a race director. And of course, he is the man at the very top of a whole string of observers and officials, technical officials, who scrutiny the cars, make sure that everything is legal and above board, try and make sure that no underhand tactics and cheating creep into the series. God forbid, not that anybody would ever partake in anything like that. And also, of course, the track workers, not just the marshals of whom we speak so admiringly so many times, but also the workers themselves that were out, particularly in Turkey. You see what really sometimes just has to be done. Every single available body in the track was out there trying to produce a racing track, and in the end they managed. Now, having remarkably produced a racing car for Andy Prio, the car is on the grid. That's a remarkable achievement for the team. Andy Prio will have a chance to go race once more, and earlier this weekend he had a chance to try another racing vehicle. Valencia, not just a racetrack and home for motorcycle racing, it's also the venue for next year's America's Cup. So he may have felt like he needed an America's Cup yacht at Istanbul, but he got a chance to sail the real thing. BMW Oracle, the challenger for the Louis Vuitton trophy, to take on the America's Cup. Well, Andy Prio sailing with skipper Chris Dixon, the world-famous Kiwi helmsman, who is in charge of the BMW Oracle.
Time for him to teach me to drive one of these things. They're looking at all the numbers all the time and understanding the wind, and Chris has got about, I don't know, what, 15 crew on here? Flat out all the time, running around after him, so you've got to know your stuff before you sit on one of these things, that's for sure.
Well, born in Guernsey, he was never far from the sea, but he was more of a jet ski man than quite so much of the dinghy enthusiast.
We're doing a change, but I think the boat, with a change, I think the boat will do a lot better than the car.
No.
The Prio would be happier if it had a couple more engines and a few less men grinding. 17-man crew on the boat in addition to Andy.
They're out there every day trying to find a little bit of extra speed from the boat, and you know, it's like motorsport. Everything's always a limit today, but tomorrow there's another limit.
17-man crew on BMW Oracle, bigger than the entire RBM outfit. Nothing better than mucking about in boats, though, is there? So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be back on the other side of this short word with action from race 18, the last European race of the World Touring Car Championship, before we head to Macau. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Valencia for round 18 of 20 of the World Touring Car Championship. Alain Menu busy mowing down innocent members of the public as he makes his way to the grid. And the Chevrolet driver is coming to line up on pole position. Vital single point for 8th place in race 1, but the other factor, of course, of being 8th in the first race, not you just get a single point, you also are top of the pile when the top 8 are turned around from race 1 to form race 2's grid. 8th goes to 1st, 7th to 2nd, and so on. So Augusto Farfus down in 8th place, the winner of race 1. Well, there you can see the Drivers' Championship with a 9-point spread covering the top 7 drivers in the series. Peter Terting 10 points off the lead, 11 points off the lead now. Seat with BMW closing just a whisker. Alfa Romeo winning the race, another 10 points for them to ease them ahead of Chevrolet. BMW taking 2nd with Luca Rangoni. Very, very important race for BMW, as well as for Seat, the leaders in the Manufacturers' Trophy. And in the Independence Trophy, of course, 10 points for Luca Rangoni, and that puts him 1 behind teammate Stefano D'Aste. And Tom Coronel, 2nd in the Independence Trophy, even closer again to taking that trophy. Ryan Sharp in 2nd place in the series now. Looks as though he will not take any further part in the World Touring Car Championship, which is a shame, but pretty much means that Tom Coronel will have things his own way. Well, we know what's going on at the front of the grid. There is Jörg Müller with his race engineer. Oh, bless, don't they make a lovely couple? But we're not entirely sure what is going on at the back of the grid. Why? Well, because 2 cars retired at the first corner, Andy Prio and Rob Huff, and one or the other of them will be 25th, and one or the other of them will be 26th on the grid. Not quite sure whichever way. It's fair to say that Prio and Huff will both start on the back of the grid. So there's Maria Di Vallota, the first woman to race in the World Touring Car Championship, and she will start in 21st place on the grid in her Chevrolet Lachetti, run by the German team Maurer Motorsport. And Willy Maurer, of course, former Formula 2 team boss.
Hola, soy María de Villota y esta va a ser mi primera carrera en el Mundial.
Maria Di Vallota introducing herself, saying this is going to be my first race in the World Touring Car Championship. Round 9 of the series welcomes the first woman to race in it, 26-year-old Maria Di Vallota. She's been racing in Spanish championships, and she's the daughter of a Formula 1 driving father. My dad raced in Formula 1 in the 70s, and although he didn't want us to race, she and her brother have both started racing in the last few years. which says, I know who I am, I know what kind of battle I can cope with as a woman. I hope the others won't take it personally and just take care of business as if I was another guy out there racing with them. So she was 25th in the qualifying session. She has high hopes for the future. Be a dream for me to represent Chevrolet in the World Touring Car Championships. If I could do pre-season testing and compete for the whole year, it'd be fantastic, and I hope that the results would follow. Well, she will need lots more experience to race at the front with such experienced rivals, but you don't get it without being out there on track. So for Willy Mara's team, Mara Motorsport, she is the first woman ever to race in the World Touring Car Championship. Just ahead on the grid, a row ahead of her, is her teammate, Vincent Rademacher, who is in the other Chevrolet Lochetti of the Mara Motorsport team. So a total of 5 Chevys on the grid then, and they are led, of course, by Alain Menu, who starts on pole position. Nicola Larini will be in 6th place on the grid after finishing on the podium in race 1 in 3rd position. And you can see the cars having their final preparations made. Ricard Rydell's car, of course, retired towards the end of the race with steering damage. It is on the grid, and we'll have to have a little look and see if we can see Gabriele Tarquini's car, which also retired. Should be on the same row towards the back of the grid. In fact, Rydell is behind Andy Priaulx, which is interesting. Well, the balance of the cars is absolutely vital to their handling. With the front-wheel drive cars, like I say, at Leon, at the back, traditionally there would be almost nothing except the fuel tank. In a racing car, that's much smaller, so the fuel, or the footwell of the boot, is used to place some of the ballast that brings the car up to weight, and any extra weight that needs to be provided can be put in alongside the driver, where a passenger seat would be to balance the car from side to side, or perhaps moved around inside the cockpit to provide an ideal balance to suit a certain racetrack. Generally speaking, though, with a 58 front, 42 rear balance, the Seat is still nose heavy. Well, cars with rear-wheel drive like the BMW using a transaxle, gearbox and clutch at the rear axle instead of alongside the driver, and that allows it to have a 52% front, 48% rear wheel balance, which is a much better spread of weight across the tyres. And of course, with the front tyres of the front-wheel drive car carrying more weight as well as having to steer and brake, they inevitably are worked a lot harder than those of a rear-wheel drive car like the BMW. Also, with the weight almost identically split front to rear on the BMW, more of the weight is over the rear tyres when it launches, which is a benefit for a rear drive car. For a front-wheel drive car, it loses some of the weight over its driven wheels as it's shifted back under acceleration away from the front wheels, and that is a bit of a problem. 7th on the grid then, Luca Rangoni. 7th on the grid, you'd take that any single day of the week in the Independence Trophy, because that means you've been 2nd in race 1. What a result that was for the team. And look, not a mark on the car either. Absolutely pristine BMW. Augusto Farfus 8th on the grid, winner of race 1. What can he pull out here? Could he take the championship lead? Well, he's only 2 points off it, and from 8th on the grid, even if he only holds this position, he will leave here 1 point off the championship lead. He may well, in fact the odds are that he will take the lead of the series as he goes away from here. Gabriele Tarquini, 2nd in the championship coming here, just 1 point ahead of him, and Tarquini, his car not on the grid as far as I can see. You can see Ricard Rydell and Andy Priaulx at the back, but I don't see Rob Huff's car, and I don't see that of Gabriele Tarquini either. So I think that Tarquini is not on the grid.
Because you actually should inspire. You're 27 and it's really time to fire. You wanna die like all your icon posture. So life is like a Tommy Conrad concert. You got a snake on your neck, again on your back. You hate yourself, you wanna be John Kenny, blue nails, black hairs. Good job, you're dead.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
to fire. You wanna die like, oh, your icon posture. So life is like a Tommy Cumberland concert. You got a snake on your neck, again on your back. You hit it yourself, you wanna beat your cable. Damn, expired blood hairs, expired good job, expired you're there. Because you never show shit, expired.
Eduardo Freitas flags the cars away from the grid, ready for the start of round 18 of the World Touring Car Championship here in Valencia. Live on Eurosport, the final European round of the series before the championship is decided at Macau in China in November. We will be back live in just a second with all the action. Can Andy Prio go away as the championship leader? Will Augusto Farfus head with the best chance of winning the title to Macau? Only the next 25 minutes will tell us. Stay with us. On-board pictures with Ricard Rydell, so he is on the grid. Gabriele Tarquini, as we said, is not on the grid, nor is Rob Huff. Is Augusto Farfus raced to victory from pole position in race 1 here, and there is Alain Menu, who will start race 2 in Valencia live on Eurosport from pole position. So moment of concentration for the Swiss at the front of the field, with Duncan Heisman alongside him, Jörg Müller lining up third, 2 BMWs ready to hassle him into the first corner. It will not be easy to win, but Menu is on pole position. And the BMW team are ready to see exactly how this race will pan out. So a moment of concentration for the N Technology team with Augusto Farfus winning race 1. He starts in 8th place. Salvatore Tavano starts in 5th. Ricard Rydell, Andy Prio right at the very back of the grid, 2 of our championship contenders coming in here. And incidentally, Tom Coronel is now the Independence Trophy champion. He can no longer be caught in the series. Let's concentrate on the race in the front run. Alain Menu on pole position, away he goes. Expect the BMWs to start very quickly. Heisman with lots of wheel spin. Here comes Jörg Müller between the 2 front row men, and Jörg Müller has not quite got the run on Duncan Heisman. Can he hold off Menu? Heisman goes wide, Müller with the inside line. He'll take Menu for 2nd place, yes he does. 4th place is Luca Rangoni, and that's good from 7th on the grid. Now the BMWs have a chance. Duncan Heisman leads, Jörg Müller 2nd, Alain Menu 3rd, Luca Rangoni 4th, Nicola Larini 5th position. 6th place is the first of the Seats, that's Peter Terting down from 4th on the grid, and another Seats on the grass, that's Tomo. Well, James Thompson forced off, comes back on, lost a lot of speed, but possibly not too many positions, and one of the BMWs goes round, that's Zanardi, around the 3rd of the Alfa Romeos, and that was Gianni Morbidelli's car. There's a Chevy off there, and is that, that is Rademacher. Now, meanwhile, back with Augusto Farfus, where is he? Behind Peter Terting, makes him 7th, I think. And there is Rademacher in the middle of the group. There's Andy Prio working his way up the order. He's already in front of the number 3 car of Ricard Rydell. Rydell on the outside. Prio's taking no prisoners now. He's got nothing to lose, absolutely everything to gain by trying to carve his way through this field in 13 blistering laps and get somehow from 26th on the grid to 8th place. It looks like the most impossible of tall orders, but it has to be attempted. Right in front of him, look at the damage already. Right in front of him is another of the Seats. That's the Independence Trophy. Maurizio Ceresoli, the 2nd of the GR Asia cars, teammate to the new champion Tom Coronel. But across the line, it's Duncan Heisman that leads from Jörg Müller. 3rd place is Alain Menu. 4th place, Luca Rangoni. 5th place at the moment is Nicola Larini, and look at that, on the grass is Farfus, trying to, it's not Farfus, it's Tavano, I think, maybe on the grass. Oh, and a bobble there. No, it's Tavano ahead. It's Farfus ahead. So Farfus goes in front of Larini. Larini receiving a lot of attention from Terting. Around they go, and Terting will be talking to Eduardo Freitas after this, because that was a strictly unnecessary contact there. Larini trying hard to defend, but Terting picking up the rear end of his car, and somehow Larini didn't spin. Let's have a look again on board with Farfus. Larini down the inside of Terting, just a little bit of contact between them, but That was Larini making nearly clean pass. He was just inches away from being perfect. And then, is that Terting? Yeah, picked him up on the inside. I was thinking for a moment it might have been Janae. But more contact further back. Race leader is Duncan Heisman from Jörg Muller. Don't forget, Jörg will be carrying a lot more weight. Alameniu in third, Luca Rangoni in fourth, Terting fifth, as we saw battling with Larini. Let's see how it is at the moment. Well, Farfus got through both of them, so Farfus fifth, Terting and Larini somewhere in sixth, seventh, ahead of Dirk Muller. And after one lap, Andy Prio was in 18th place. Let's have a look away from the start. Good launch by Jörg Muller. Duncan Heisman closes him down. Very slow start from Salvatore Tavano, the first of the Alphas on the grid. And look at that. The second Alpha of Farfus being pushed along by Dirk Muller into the first corner. Come on, come on, come on. Let's get going, baby. As Alameniu lost second place, but did not lose third into corner two. There's the leader going by now, Duncan Heisman, and Jörg Muller also getting inside Alameniu at the first corner. Menu just couldn't pinch him up to the apex. Jörg was already inside. There's Farfus now, ahead of Nicola Larini, ahead of everyone else side by side. Here comes Morbidelli. He's got a real head of steam going inside Jörg Muller. Runs out wide, Jörg, and Dirk Muller comes inside. He goes past Jörg Muller, so too does Tavano. So Jörg Muller has lost a couple of, Ivan Muller has lost a couple of places there. So Tavano with Dirk Muller still pushing along. If there's an Alfa Romeo in front, Dirk's going to use it to push his way through. And there you can see Morbidelli hung out on the outside, but he takes it back on the inside, gets past James Thompson. There's Alex Zanardi, and who's going past him? Pierre-Yves Courtals. Look at that field of cars. Tavano from Dirk Muller. I think that's Ivan Muller up behind car number 12. Yes, it is. Then Morbidelli ahead of Tomo. Tomo looking back inside him, down towards turn 9 and 10. Lots of tyre smoke everywhere. This is being fought at such a frenetic pace, this battle, all the way down from third place below, basically. Here's one huge mass of scrabbling cars, and here comes Prio, past Pierre-Yves Courtals. Prio is just absolutely having a stunning race, and Rangoni around the outside of Menu in 14. Great move by Luca Rangoni, showing just how much grip that Pro Team BMW has got, and he's still with it. Alameniu was slow at the start, and into the pits has gone, I think, Peter Terting, or Ivar Muller. Peter Terting probably to serve a penalty, seeing no notice of it on the screen, but I would think that was Peter Terting being penalised for contact with Nicola Larini. Alameniu holding on to the inside line again from Rangoni. Luca trying to squeeze around the outside of two. Good action again from those two men. Very good. Racing room being left by both for the other to survive, and as a result, both cars still on the island. The place change has gone through. Great racing by Luca Rangoni. Very sensible stuff by Alameniu. Farfus in fifth, right behind. With Augusto Farfus there, chasing Alameniu for fourth place. Luca Rangoni making his break in third. BMW podium. Heisman, Jörg Muller, and now Luca Rangoni. Let's have a look again. Rangoni and Menu are being cornered through corner, wheel to wheel. Menu fighting him off in 13. This is where it all started. Well, it's not. It started in 8 and 9. There's Eric Nev of Chevrolet, watching his man in fourth place. This is Augusto Farfus' view of those two cars as they go through the switch up to corner 6. And Luca Rangoni out of turn 14 onto the straight. Nicola Larini tracing that back bumper, trailing the back bumper, and Alameniu with a lot of chatter at the front end from a broken splitter. That won't be helping him in a straight line either. All of that drag just adds to slowing the car down a fraction. And Augusto Farfus in fifth place from 8th on the grid, race 1 winner. Might he make the podium? It's possible. Rangoni's not really escaping. Farfus is going as quick as Rangoni, 147.0. Rangoni 147.976, so very little at all in it. Literally 0.101 of a second between them on that last lap. So Farfus just a tenth quicker than Rangoni. But he's held up behind Alain Menu, and he needs to go just a shade quicker. That means that Rangoni will have a chance to break away in this lap as Farfus trails the Chevrolet. And of course Menu won't want to give anything away, but he was miles away from the apex there, and he's still miles away, running wide. Nicola Larini is trying to close in from behind. Larini really with the bit between his teeth. Look at that rate of attack, coming in from long behind, right up behind Farfus. Farfus the meat in this Chevrolet sandwich now. Up to turn 12. Over the hill, down the other side they go, sweeping around this Valencia circuit. All Farfus on the inside. Menu can hold the outside line, but he can't hold him off, and Farfus just gives him the little rub, pushes him extra wide to make sure. Menu loses another place to teammate Nicola Larini. Larini with an unhindered run through the first corner. Goes by the Italian passing the Swiss. So Farfus now 4th from 8th on the grid. Could make the podium. Lots of action further back after 5 laps, incidentally. Prio up to 14th position. And that may be changing even as we speak. Heisman from Muller, with Jörg Muller all over the back of Duncan Heisman. Luca Rangoni still in 3rd, again on the podium. And looking down the order, Jordi Genet 12th, Gianni Morbidelli 13th, Andy Prio 14th, was 0.33 behind. I'm not sure that's actually not part of an overlap across the start line with Gianni Morbidelli. So Prio might well appear. No, he's just behind the BMW driver, he's just behind the Alfa Romeo, I think. Well, no, that was Tavano and Dirk Muller further back. Let's have a look anyway. Here's Jörg Muller harassing Heisman for victory. Now, Heisman already a winner in the World Touring Car Championship, won in Macau. He's become a real Macau specialist over the last few years, Duncan Heisman. But to win somewhere else would certainly be a real coming of age for him. Jörg Muller is very close indeed, though, 0.87 behind at the line. It's nothing like that now. And further back, lots more frantic scrapping going on. Andy Prio still further back behind Gianni Morbidelli in 13th and Tom Coronel in 15th. So a long way from the points. Dirk Muller is in points positions, or in a single point scoring position, in 8th place. But the big winners from this race weekend at the moment, apart from Luca Rangoni in terms of the championship, are going to be Augusto Farfus and Jörg Muller. So Jörg Muller came into the championship in 7th place, 3 points in race 1, but if he can somehow get past Heisman in the remaining half of this race and claim 10 points, that will be getting on for his best race weekend of the season. He's had a 15-pointer in Brno. He's had a 12-point weekend in Oschersleben, but apart from that, he has 16 points in Magny-Cours for 2 second places. So 3 big scoring weekends have pretty much put his entire season together. And 13 points here would certainly help. Larini rather, inside Farfus, and that'll help the other drivers in the championship as well. Farfus missed his mark under braking, missed the apex there, and a bit of a scramble as Larini got through, but through he did get. So Larini ahead of Farfus now up to 4th. Look how similarly aggressive the driving styles of Larini and Farfus can be in extremis. They're both really hanging the tail out in these 2 cars. Larini, of course, flapping that back bumper won't actually be doing too much to affect his performance adversely. And he's ahead of Augusto Farfus. And Rangoni now apart from Jörg Müller, the fastest man on the track. So the two BMWs in second and third are closing gradually on race leader Duncan Heisman. Priaulx still 14th, still needs something miraculous to get up to a point. Looking further down the order, there's Rangoni, there's Larini, there's Farfus, there's Menu, there's Tavano, Dirk and Jörg Müller 8th and 9th, James Thompson in 10th, Alex Zanardi in 11th, all over them as well. So Ivan Müller is a second behind Dirk Müller in 8th place, but he's got Tomo, Zanardi, Genet all over the back of him. And Priaulx's got ahead of Morbidelli. He's now up to 13th place, 1.6 seconds behind the queue of cars up to Dirk Müller. Well, that's a lot to ask still, but Priaulx is absolutely charging, and that's the battle. Thompson, Genet and Alex Zanardi, all three of them together, and that might be the sort of miracle that Priaulx wanted, and there he is. Andy Priaulx is right in the middle of it, and Genet is trying to fight him off. Priaulx's got the inside line, and that was exactly what the world champion needed, a break. Well, they are still behind Ivan Müller and Dirk Müller, but that big confused battle just opened up right in front of Andy Priaulx, and suddenly he found himself right in the midst of it and picked up 3 places as a result. Priaulx on an absolute charge here. And Jordi Genet is, well, he was 12th at the beginning of the lap. Who knows where he'll be now? He runs wide, Priaulx goes by. Well, Priaulx with almost no wear on his car before the start of this race, of course, except for body damage at the back. Now he's clear of this group, and Thompson still at the back. What a dramatic moment there for the world champion, and look how quickly he's leaving them as they continue to harass each other towards the end of the lap. Priaulx makes a major step forward. Well, let's take a look at this again. Andy Priaulx dives inside Jordi Genet to take the lead of that little group. And there is yellow flags out. Maria Di Vallota has gone off at the first corner. And so, unfortunately, that's ended her touring car debut here in Spain. Alex Zanardi still battling hard with Gianni Morbidelli. Duncan Heisman leads the race from Jörg Müller, Luca Rangoni in 3rd, Nicola Larini in 4th, Augusto Farfus 5th ahead of Alain Menu. Points go down to Dirk Müller in 8th, then Ivan Müller, and Andy Priaulx is some 6 seconds away from even a sniff of a point still. Battle for the race lead. Can Duncan Heisman hold on? Will Duncan Heisman be passed by Jörg Müller? The German driver is all over the Dutchman in these closing stages. There's the telltale signs of pressure. Heisman locking the unladen right front wheel there, under pressure, under braking. But can Jörg Müller somehow unlock the secret to winning this race? At the moment, he has not been able to have a stab at Heisman, and it's very important that he does try and get through. He knows that more than anybody else. On this might hang any hope of a championship challenge. Menu, Farfus and Dirk Müller. Now this is exactly what Priaulx might want to see, a big squabble at the tail of the points that might possibly end with a couple of cars off the road. Andy Priaulx in 10th place at the moment. He's got away from Zanardi in the chasing pack. Jörg Müller 9th, Ivan Müller rather in 9th, and Dirk Müller, the back one of these 3 cars, is in 8th place. Well, there's Ivan Müller, the Seat, and there is Andy Priaulx. Now, Priaulx's last lap, a 147.8, only 1 car in the 46s, oh, in 2, in fact, that's Rangoni, and fastest man out there, Nicola Larini, 146.5. So whatever it was he had for breakfast is really working well for Nicola Larini. He's closing down on 3rd place man Luca Rangoni. He wants another 3rd place. He doesn't, he wants a 2nd, but 3rd's 1 step closer. Here comes Müller. Tavano makes a mistake under braking. Müller moves up 1. That's 7th place for Dirk Müller. There's Ivan Müller behind Salvatore Tavano. There is Andy Priaulx closing in. Now what he really needs is for Ivan Muller to get involved with Salvatore Tabano and somehow for the two of them to take each other out. Could it happen twice? Well, Prio's been the victim of several unfortunate errors or unfortunate accidents, and certainly the one at the beginning of race 1 did not look like it was anything to do with his driver error. And even 1 point here would just give him an extra bit of fighting breath as they head to Macau, which is where this championship will end up. Roberto Ravaglia with the headset on there. It's his man leading the race. Duncan Heisman. Now, whichever way this finishes, doesn't make much difference to BMW. It'll be a BMW 1-2. The manufacturer's points will be just as valuable. The top Seat at the moment is Ivan Muller in 9th place. So the only thing that matters as far as BMW and particularly Dr. Mario Tyson would be concerned with here is that neither of these leading BMWs fails to finish the race because of driver error. Duncan Heisman wins from Jörg Muller and Luca Rangoni. Jörg Muller wins from Duncan Heisman and Luca Rangoni. Luca Rangoni beats the two of them. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a BMW. But what it does make a difference too, of course, is Jörg Muller's chances of winning the World Touring Car Championship and BMW having a driver's champion who speaks German as opposed to a driver's champion who speaks English. Charlie Lamb talking on the radio to Jörg. Keep it calm or go for it with all arms and elbows. Don't know what the instruction would be. Currently on lap 10 of 13. There is still time. And here comes Prio. Well, the reigning champion with the number 1 on the side of his car. Would he be able to carry that into 2007? It really would be quite a remarkable phase of any driver's career to win the European Championship and then back-to-back world titles in 3 consecutive years in a discipline in which he is still relatively new. Well, that's for another day. That's for November, that question to be answered. Whoever the champion is going to be, we will not know until probably after the final race in Macau. Oh, now let's have a look here. That's Dirk Muller moving up another one, gets ahead of Alain Menu. Not without contact, but he gets ahead anyway. That was a pretty big bump as well. But at this stage of the season, half chances suddenly become 1.5 chances. Well, there is Dirk Muller, Alain Menu right behind him. And there is Prio closing in from behind, and he is looking absolutely on the ragged edge. Dirk Muller and Alain Menu once more trying to swap positions. Menu coming back at him. Now again, this is exactly what Prio wants. What he really wants to see is these two go off and Ivan Muller to fall off as well. At the moment, Ivan Muller has the last point. Salvatore Tabano in 9th place is the Alfa Romeo at the back of the queue. And then it's Andy Prio in 10th. Menu, big wobble from Dirk Muller. Held it together though. Menu under pressure from Ivan Muller. Then Salvatore Tabano, and here comes Prio, and here's the chance for the lead. Jörg Muller's inside. Heisman, he's got him. That was a well-judged move by Jörg Muller, and it looks as though he completed it without contact as well. Now he's a little wide. Heisman can't risk turning inside him there because that'll just punt him off. And Heisman knows, above all else, if he wants to have a career as a BMW touring car driver, he can't be doing that kind of thing. Well, that was a good move by Jörg Muller. Look how filthy it is offline as well. And drivers have to take all of that into account when they make these moves offline down the inside. It means you pick up all the dust, the rubber, the rubbish, and suddenly when you get to the apex, your tyres aren't giving you the grip they would have been if you'd been online. So, Umberto Grano and Roberto Ravaglia looking a little happier there. It's safely passed off. Jörg Muller leads. Last lap, Duncan Heisman in 2nd, Luca Rangoni in 3rd, BMW 1-2-3, Nicola Larini in 4th, Augusto Farfus 5th for Alfa Romeo. There he is, 6th place, Dirk Muller and Alain Menu. Well, we'll wait and see. In fact, that's one of the boys from Schnitzer there with Roberto Ravaglia. Just showing that the teams do talk to each other a lot. And here's the battle. Dirk Muller, Alain Menu, Ivan Muller in the Seat. Gets ahead of Menu. and Prio needs to be involved in this just in case there's a chance to somehow scramble through, but he's tantalisingly not close enough. Dirk Muller in 6th place, Ivan Muller up to 7th, Alain Menu pushed down to 8th position. Don't forget he started from pole position. Dirk runs wide, Ivan's coming up the inside, he gets by, that's for 6th place. He's alongside, Ivan does not give room willingly, and Dirk trying to squeeze Alain Menu down into turn 8. Here comes Prio, he's right in it. Prio is trying to get involved in this. Dirk Muller still trying to push Alain Menu into 10. Prio's right there, the chance of a point maybe. If he can get past any one of those cars, it's a point. He's got past Menu, it's a point for Prio. Now his challenge is Dirk Muller. Ivan Muller looked very slow off the corner there. Can he get in front of Dirk? He mustn't drive another BMW off the road. Jörg Muller slides very wide. Duncan Heisman takes 2nd place as Jörg Muller wins. And for the German, it is win number 3 of the season. He won in Oschersleben, he won in Brno, he wins in Valencia. It's a BMW 1, 2, 3, but the excitement is further back. Ivan Muller comes across the line ahead of Dirk Muller, ahead of Andy Prio, ahead of Alain Menu. Menu from pole position down in 9th place, and there may be words still after the race. I thought there probably might be. Well, Menu putting the big squeeze there on Dirk Muller. Very, very unhappy with the way those last few laps were driven. But Andy Prio, well, I'm going to have to wait for my timing screen to finally catch up with it, but I make him in 8th place with a single point, which is more than he thought he would get as he sat in the gravel on lap 1 of race 1, and more than he earned in the entire weekend in Istanbul. You're looking at Jörg Muller, the most recent winner in the World Touring Car Championship. He wins his 3rd race of the season. He won in Oschersleben in Germany. He won in Brno in the Czech Republic. And now he has won the 18th, the final European race here in Valencia in Spain. Got past Duncan Heisman, and Heisman himself has had a 10-point weekend. He's then increased his score from 4 to 14 in the championship. And in 3rd position, Luca Rangoni. But there's the most, I think, one of the most delighted men here. A single point for Andy Prio means he goes to Macau 1 point off the championship lead. The new championship leader is Augusto Farfus, 14 points this weekend. He has scored in Valencia. Augusto Farfus with a win and a 5th position is our new championship leader. Joint 2nd on 59 points, one behind him, Andy Prio and Jörg Muller. In 4th place in the championship, Gabriele Tarquini, 3 off the lead. 5th, Ricard Rydell, 6 off the lead. 6th position, Dirk Muller, 7 off the lead. 7th place now, James Thompson from 5th place in the championship. He doesn't score, still on 49 points. That's 11 off the lead. And in joint 8th place, Ivan Muller and Peter Terting on 48 points, 12 points off the lead. 12 points is a win, and 7th place in race 2. It is still doable for our top 9 drivers. Well, Valencia has always produced exciting racing right from the word go in race 2 with Thompson on the grass and all sorts of kerfuffles. It was clear that we were going to have a BMW battle for the lead. Jörg Muller, Duncan Heisman, and quickly Luca Rangoni slotting in front of everyone else. Augusto Farfus, the race 1 winner, coming from 8th to 5th after a torrid battle. He eventually got passed by Nicola Larini, but it's a BMW clean sweep of the podium and win number 3 of the season for Jörg Muller. Well, vital points for BMW in their battle with Seat as well, of course, and that means that they came here trailing Seat by 9 points. It's going to be a very close manufacturers battle going to Macau as well. So the driver's title is still very much alive and kicking for at least half a dozen drivers, including 3 BMW drivers, 2 Seat drivers, and Alfa Romeo's winner here, Augusto Farfus. But let's get into the press room and catch up with our happy winner, Jürgen Müller.
Jürgen Müller, a perfect weekend for you with this victory, a total of 13 points, and you're right up there in the standings. That's very important for you, I guess.
I was right up in the points before as well. I mean, to be true, there were 8, 9 guys, you know, which had still the theoretical chance to win the championship. Now, okay, we're going to Macau with probably 6 or 7, and a lot of guys which are going to help them, so it's going to be tough in Macau as well.
Well, on this race, you were second for most of the race with Duncan Huisman just in front of you. Were any decisions taken inside the BMW team?
Not really, because we're running really in different teams. But from the first race, I knew already that he could go fast for half of the distance. That was the same case in the first race, which I saw in my mirrors. And I just waited and tried to save my tires, especially with the 50 kilos I was carrying. I really had to be careful with the tires. And then I saw, you know, that he couldn't come to the apex anymore and that he went wide all the time. So I took my chance. He was fair with the overtaking. This is something I really like to see in our championship a little bit more. Yeah, thanks to him for this help, and thanks to my team for giving me a winning car with 50 kilos of ballast. Thanks.
Jörg, it's been a very smart season for you, all along the rounds. What can you expect from the final races in Macau?
Well, I'm the only one from this field who won Formula 3 and touring cars in Macau, and that's what I want to do. I want to win there and want to go home from Asia with the World Championship title.
Well, congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Jürgen certainly really put himself in the frame, hasn't he? When he went to Macau last year, it all ended in disaster. And the very first corner of race 1 for him, he wasn't a championship hopeful then, but he was in contention to the end of 2003 and 2004 in the European Touring Car Championship, and he will go to Macau, a single point off the lead this year.
Duncan, your best ever result, second position. You're on the podium of this race too. A great satisfaction for you. How did the race go up till the end?
The race 2 was perfect for me, although the last 3 laps where you could see I was struggling a little bit and sliding with the car. But I had a good start and could pull away like 2 seconds on Jörg. And from that moment I tried to save the tires a little bit before the end of the race, because in race 1 I was also struggling in the last 3-4 laps. So, and it worked out.
No team orders in the BMW team, fair battle all the way to the finish line with Jörg?
Well, I have to say my radio wasn't working. So normally you have communication with Roberto, but all of a sudden on the grid the radio stopped working. So, but I was struggling anyway, and I didn't want to risk for going off or taking Jörg and me off. So he put it on the inside and just passed me, and it's, yeah, these things happen.
Next round's Macau, a place you know very well and you like very much.
Yeah, I won it last year. It was my only entry in World Touring Cars, and I won the second race, and I hope to be on the podium this year again.
Well, congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So great race for Duncan Huisman, and as he said, his car was not quite as sharp towards the end of the race as the Schnitzer BMW, just drifting offline a little, and when Jürgen Müller came down the inside, there was never really going to be too much of a battle. Would have been different if it had been a Seat, a Chevrolet or an Alfa Romeo, but with another BMW, you have to be very cautious of these things. So we're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Welcome back live to Valencia. You just saw race 1 winner Augusto Farfus, reliving the moments of his delight there. And first and second in race 2, you can see the 2 BMWs there. Jürgen Müller, number 42, and Duncan Huisman, number 41. And in third place was BMW number 30 for Luca Rangoni, the Independence driver again, winning the Independent trophy here, but also on the overall podium. Second overall and third overall for Rangoni. What a weekend he's had. And Duncan Huisman in second. Jürgen Müller goes to Macau, 1 point off the championship lead, tied with Andy Priaulx, a single point behind Augusto Farfus. What a happy man he will be getting to the Far East. And what a championship we have in prospect. Incidentally, what a shocking weekend it has been here for Seat. Just one Seat in the points in each of the two races. Jörg Müller, our winner in round 18 of the World Touring Car Championship, and BMW are winners overall this weekend. Seat scored a total of just 7 points for the manufacturers and 29 for BMW, and that closes down the margin between BMW and Seat and overturns it comprehensively. BMW came here 9 behind Seat. They are now on 221 points, Seat on 208. They go away 13 points ahead. It's a very big margin for Seat to try and overcome in Macau. And in addition, of course, Seat's best placed driver in the championship is 4th placed Gabriele Tarquini. 5th place Ricard Rydell on 54 points, Tarquini on 57. Joint 2nd place in the championship are Andy Priaulx and Jörg Müller, and our points leader going away from here, Augusto Farfus. So Alfa Romeo, 2 BMW drivers, 2 Seat drivers, to count the very least as our championship contenders. Can't count out Dirk Müller as well on 53 points, just 7 away, and that makes it very much an achievable target for him. But when we get to Macau in November, we will have a phenomenal race on our hands. 2 races over the course of the weekend. Independence Trophy win again here goes to Luca Rangoni, but the Independence champion who wins the Yokohama Advan Trophy for 2006 is Tom Coronel. Congratulations to him and GR Asia. I'm Martin Heyman. I'll see you in Macau in a month's time. Bye for now.